But Dad's got his rolling.
She got heels on.
Alright, man. Where we going?
Alright guys, so before we head in there, I know it sucks because it really does not make my day easy when I have to walk through the tours with the diaper on my face, but if we could all just have our masks on for me, we gotta do what we gotta do, huh, comrades? Now, before we head into the cave, if you look above the entrance, if you notice how that hill kind of flattens out and dips down, so back in 1812 when the earthquake that hit the New Madrid fault line that made the Mississippi River run backwards, opened up a 30-foot wide sinkhole up there, and that's how this cave was discovered.
After he got through, he said, and that's how this cave was discovered. And then look, you said, how was this cave discovered? That's funny.
Chris? Just do your best.
Alright, I gotta get that ladder so we can go to the bottom.
Alright guys, so I am closing this door behind us and locking it so no one sneaks in for a free tour. If at any point in time you need to leave the cave, you turn this lock to the right, pull the door towards you, it will open. Also, if you do end up leaving, just let me know. That way when I do a head count at the end, I don't feel like I'm missing anyone. Alright guys, so right about here we give a little bit of history on this cave. So as I was saying, outside this cave was exposed due to an earthquake that caused a sinkhole. And that sinkhole would have been right about here above our heads. And this rock face is one of the original rock faces of that sinkhole. Now that prohibition in this cave was used as a speakeasy, so you will see smoke damage all throughout the walls from when they were illegally brewing liquor down there. After that time, the property came into possession of a man named Albert Rainey in 1949. He ended up installing a wooden spiral staircase to get down into the cave and set up a rock shop up top and started selling minerals. He then sold these properties to the old amusement park down the road called Dog Patch USA, and in 1967 they spent $2 million on renovations, putting in the rock lane, handrails, lights, and construction of the current gift shop. After that, they sold these properties in hopes to try to save the main part of the theme park that was losing money because of Brands Missouri's growing popularity. One of the employees was not too keen on losing his job quite yet, so he popped out of the bank and applied for the loan and bought the place. He is the current owner of my boss, and he probably told me boys we're talking to get to, so if you find folks, follow me. So, just out of curiosity, do I have any 80s babies in here?
Yes.
80 days.
So, for you, my little 80s babies, welcome to Fraggle Rock. Alrighty, now, so this is going to be a tight squeeze up here, so if you guys can just stay up here and I'll direct them down on the lower ramp. I'm just going to pass you guys here.
There's a TV show in the 80s called Fraggle Rock. Wow.
Alright guys, if you look over to your right side, this is what we call our pipe organ. You've probably seen a picture of that formation on one of our billboards on the roads or on our website. It is hollow throughout the center, so if a vibration occurs in this cave, it will produce a musical sound, sort of like a low, steady hum. Over on your left side, this is our largest column on the property, about 30 feet up from its base. So your stalactites are the ones that grow from the ceiling down. You can remember that because they hold tight to the ceiling. Your stalagmites are the ones that grow from the floor up. You can remember that because they microwave reach the ceiling. When two of them grow together and they meet in the middle, like this over here, and that over there, that's how you get your columns. And that cluster group of stuff at the center of my light on the ceiling, those formations are called stalactites. To this day, there is no scientific explanation to give reason to how those formed. The best they can guesstimate is that this area was under a lot of water at one point in time, giving it the weightlessness that it needed to grow in all directions. Because without something like that in its environment, they would have just followed gravity, growing straight down, making more stalactites. You guys can just meet down in that room. I'm going to check something. Watch your heads on the right.
What you hit on the right?
Yeah, right.
Dang, it's like a secret room.
Huh?
It's like a secret room.
It's our bedroom.
Watch your head. Watch your head.
Excuse me, I'm gonna get right behind you here. Alright guys, so this is the lowest point in this cave we go to. We're roughly about 40 feet underground right here. This is what we call our popcorn room because of the way that the cave coral looks like popcorn when it grows in this room. This very active calcite formation on the wall is what some of us call the 5-layer cake. I like to call it the biscuit and gravy fountain with sausage running down the sides. Down there is the lowest point in the cave we can see. If you want a good look, if you stand right about here, I'll let you shine the light down yourself. And then the reason why they put in this mighty pillar that stands before us this great day, a state inspector came out one evening, took a look at this rock above our heads and thought that it absolutely needed something to hold it up. So they put in a PCP pipe and plastered quickcrete over it. And he said that'll do. So this is what we call our moral support poles. That's about all she's good for. Well, Ocean Man said we had to have it, so there it is. If you want to get over here, I can move. If you
No,
want to
you're
take a picture.
fine.
Okay.
No, you
Just
weren't
don't
fine.
stick your head in there because the light's super bright that we've got propped up. I made that mistake on my second day.
I should have the camera.
You're too tall to be right there. You done got yourself in a tight spot. You're about to knock your head.
Do you not remember us having that shower? This is the way me and Corey took a shower for I don't know how long.
I guess that's true. Get a picture.
Hey, boss man.
Yes.
5 of us are leaving. 2 adults, 3 kids.
Okay, thank you.
See ya.
Alright guys, so right above our heads, all throughout the stone is the one part of the cave we allow y'all to touch. Excuse me. So since these are fossils embedded into rock and not actively growing minerals like that over there, you ain't gonna hurt nothing. So these little spindly things are Trinoid fossils, and Trinoids are these sea creatures that live on the ocean floor near volcanic vents, which Jess at a point in time, this was under a lot of ocean water. Something about like that. Alright guys, that's about all I have for y'all down here.
You sound sick. See what he's about.
Alright, so it's just another tight squeeze of the balcony that overlooks our next room, so it's kind of staying here. Just go in there and look around when you guys hang out on the side for me. Just be mindful of the walls. This is the most active spot in this cave. It's growing more minerals. Yeah. So it's going to be a lot more shinier and white, like that stuff right there. Well, yeah, the reason why a lot of it looks gray though is because it's growing over some of the older smoke damage. Yeah, when we get into the other cave, it's going to look like all this stuff is frozen. Yeah, so whenever you guys end up coming off the balcony, just go down into the room that it overlooks at.
No, come on. Some kind of.
You're done. You're done. Oh, wait for other people to come through. That was the balcony where at one point in time they had live music playing because this was the ballroom of the speakeasy. We can actually see right along here where a wooden floor is sitting. It was etched into the side of the stone, as well as over on this side of the room. So back here, she has the rickety rope ladder attached to the sinkhole. Local men had donkeys, lower yellow locust laws. So they hauled the end of the chamber, cut the place, and built a ball and pour out. See live music up there, people dancing down here. And right across this back way stretched a wooden bar. Folks could walk up to and order drinks that were brewed in the back room over there. So they had a whole operation going on down here. By the time the property came into possession, Albert Rainey wanted to keep all the wooden stuff of historical value and brought away from the moisture down here. So after they ripped all that up, they put in a pathway so people could get a better look at these type formations. After which God had improved upon the pathways and dug out these man-made pools to contain the water. Now the pennies in there, they're not ancient or anything, it's just the minerals in the water have changed the face value of the metal, kind of like how the Statue of Liberty is stained by minerals in the ocean. Oh, yeah, I can see it. I don't know, somebody else really important around here. You tell me, I don't know. So this is kind of what it is.
Well, we're just one problem.
Apparently so. And then if you guys look overhead again, this is what would have been the largest stalactite formation in this cave. We can see impact marks on the side where somebody could rock sack and kind of came down. Now, we're assuming they had a rope attached to it to pull it as it fell to make it go sideways. That way multiple men could catch it, because I don't know about you guys, but I'd sure hate to be the single drunkard standing under it going, it looks good for the joke, keep throwing. Moonshine is known to make a fool out of us all, so you never know. Oh my guys. If y'all want to take about 5 minutes to look around in here, or y'all ready to go to the next spot? It's up to you guys.
Top of this one, we see a little gnome guy sitting at the top. Just like that. Yeah. I've been in the cave before. Deserves to love it. Hang over here. We're doing some pretty unique formations in here. So these right here, there's some more over here as well. Right here. And there's some there. So these are called rivestone dams. They form when water.
Look at the water.
Mm-hmm.
I bet it's
Alright guys, as we get a little closer to the flight organ, there's a spot right here. There are pieces for chipping, and we can see cracks that have run up the side from shock that it took over time. Over on this wall, we have some cave coral formations. So these are limestone caves, and sometimes when the calcite goes down the side of the wall, it will trap these little pockets of moisture. And when that moisture gets drawn back out, it'll leave behind these calcite crystals that looks like coral. Now this
let's hear that sound.
And that's the spot that we call our loft, because that's where people will sleep off the night. We're going to turn on some of the lights, but we're going to show you guys some glow-in-the-dark rocks, okay?
Okay. Oh, wow. That is cool. This way.
Yeah, so up there will just be the end of the cave up to the right, and then that spot in front of us is what we call our loft, because that's where people sleep off the night or something. But we're trying to find
The bigger ones they think is from, sorry, I didn't mean to blind you. The bigger ones they think is from kerosene lanterns, and the small ones they believe is from mainly smoking.
Yeah, because everything else is just hilly and bumpy.
Like it looks like that we're gonna try.
It's the water and money. What if you go swimming down in that one? What would happen, baby? So I wonder if you went swimming down in there, what would happen?
We're going to see it. Oh, that's tight.
Was that so hard? Was that so hard?
So basically, when the calcite stacks on itself, it is very similar to salt, so you can see it's not
Alright guys, so that light up there marks that end of the cave, does not go any further past that point. So this is what we call our still room, because right behind this handsome cellar is where they were cooking that good corn liquor. So you can see the indention where the metal still was in place, under it was the fire pit for brewing, and right above it where our lights propped up, you can see where the smoke is going to the standing rocks above it. So as you guys can imagine, it got awful smoky in this chamber, making alcohol down here, to the point where about 2 days before the weekends when parties were scheduled to meet, they had to stop producing liquor to manually fan out as much smoke as possible using cloth. It got to the point where the men who were running the operation thought it was a little more trouble than what it's worth to do it that way, so they removed the entire still and started brewing up in the woods where firewood was more available and the air was more open. Well, the marshal who was doing his rounds saw the smoke from the fire in the distance, went to check it out because he knew nobody lived out there, stumbled upon the still, and of course he was legally obligated to round everyone up and the drink stopped pouring. It's the top layer of the formation absorbed carbon from the smoke in the air, staining it. So when they sprayed all that down, the only thing they really accomplished was damaging this part of the formation and basically killing off new growth on this whole side of the wall because they disrupted the calcite too much. As we can see over on that wall that was not sprayed down after it's staining, there's a lot more new streaks growing down it. So after enough time, most likely when I'm dead and gone, that will be restored to its natural coloring, and someone's going to have to do a better job of explaining this whole moonshine business. During a little escapade of spraying down that wall, they uncovered this flowstone over here. So you can see a comparison of the minerals that were covered up and protected by clay as opposed to the piece that was sticking out with the smoke in the air. So this is what would have been the natural coloring of all these walls before men came in here. There's a friend of mine that works with us, Rebecca. She's actually up in the shop now. She likes to call this our cave bacon, and she says that looks like the lard running down under it. Over here we've got some cracks running up from the base all the way up to the top of this wall. And this rock was once part of the ceiling, so that is damage that they give a credit to the earthquake for. So most of the damage in here is due to people, but some of it is natural. And then this white powdery looking stuff on the walls and the ceilings is called moon milk. As the Dutch called it gnome milk though, because ancient Celtic tribes believed that gnomes plastered that on cave walls to keep people out, originally thinking it was poisonous to us. Well, in the 1600s and 1700s, Europeans discovered it was actually medicinal.
So they began harvesting it to ingest it for heartburns, upset stomachs, and putting it on linen wrappings to stem bleeding and prevent infections. Its main chemical compound is calcium carbonate, basically the main ingredient in modern Tums.
So even back in the day, they were drinking the moonshine. It's crazy. And the pools of water are probably the coolest thing, though. Big old cavern. Gonna walk us all the way back.
Were you the last one?
I am.
All right, good deal. Now I got a 102-year-old carving right here on the side of the wall. That was put in there in the year 1919. Well, that's kind of aggressive on there.
Yeah. Awesome.
Does anybody happen to have the time?
11:36.
Muchas gracias.
Hey, babe. Hey, what'd you think about the Mystic Caverns?
Pretty awesome.
Pretty awesome. Just okay.
I liked it. It's beautiful.
How'd you like it?
I liked it.
You liked it a lot?
I liked it a lot. It was cool.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Somebody else wants my woman.
So the crew seemed to like it okay. It was well worth $23 a piece, I think. 2 domes and tons of memories. So it was great.